The production of this video was made possible by donors to the Orchestration Online Patreon initiative. Please consider adding your support to the creation of free educational internet resources by visiting our Patreon page linked below.
Hey there, this is your orchestration tutor Thomas Goss, with just one more video to help you get started with your 2022 Orchestration Challenge entry. A brief discussion of the possible pitfalls you might run into while orchestrating Barvinsky's Prelude in G major. The first and most obvious problem with the Barvinsky Prelude is that both versions uploaded to IMSLP cut off some bass notes when they were scanned, and the original edition has a few errors here and there. To make matters worse, IMSLP currently calls this movement Prelude in E minor, which may leave you wondering what happened to the actual Prelude in G. Well, that is the Prelude in G major. So I'm hoping that you'll either use the template on the Orchestration Online events page or Patreon announcement page, or at the very least use my version of the PDF on those web pages, or on the piano recording plus score video featuring our guest performer Violina Petrochenko. But even if you're only scoring the opening as a website subscriber or a Minim supporter, you should still see how much variety and reimagination you can achieve. In a way, the simplicity of the first 10 bars actually gives you more of a blank slate from which to build many different textural approaches, and develop them into the next 8 bars after that. The next possible pitfall relates to the structure of the prelude. It's actually quite simple, recasting the same thematic material in different accompaniment styles, with no extensive development until near the end of the piece. What does develop the most is the flavor and intensity of the music's emotion, and we're fortunate in that Violina displays what's possible when a great amount of dramatic flair is injected into the piece. I submit that this would also be a very effective orchestration strategy, especially if you intend to take on the entire prelude. And this leads to one of the main reasons I chose this prelude for the 2022 Orchestration Challenge. I feel this is an optimal piece of music for freedom of reinterpretation. I'm hoping that many of this year's entries will take liberties with the way notes are framed in the original score, in order to more deeply and honestly bring the spirit of music to life as an orchestral work. Another possible pitfall relates to the scoring of the inner voices. Violina's recording reveals a wealth of subtle commentary in the phrasing at the end of some bars. But if you're not an accomplished pianist, you might not grasp that in many places by just reading the score. The lower two staves don't just interact physically, through both being covered by the left hand. They also represent interactions of motive and musical gesture. Notes in one staff may start a little phrase that's completed in the other staff without any shared slur. This is why you should really let the recording be your guide as much as the notes of the score. One pitfall that always shows up in music of this sort is how to interpret the gushing arpeggiated figuration of the left hand. I'm not going to tell you how to orchestrate your own arrangement, but just to let you know that endless harp gets pretty old after a while, and its lower strings are easily drowned out even in a medium soft texture. Watch out for Barvinsky's bursts of progressive harmony, which will probably bring Scriabin or Rachmaninoff to mind. There are bars in which the same pitch on the staff is being played two different ways. such as the C-sharp octaves in bar 51 holding over the repeated C double-sharp diminished chords, with a similar potential conflict in the left hand. One last little part to watch out for is the neat trick at bar 58 in which, at the end of the repeated chords, the B octaves hold while the rest of the harmony releases. I think this section could be interpreted in many different innovative ways, so long as the orchestrator is paying attention to the possibilities. And then, of course, the tempos in the score are completely subjective and don't make anywhere near the same kind of sense that the recording does, which is why I've adapted the templates to better reflect Violina's version. But you can take it or leave it and adapt it as necessary. There are a few other possible pitfalls, but I'll leave you to work those out for yourself. So get to it.